In this third and final video, we're going to be looking at inverse functions. And an inverse function is basically the function that takes f of x back to x. We call it f inverse. Now, what I just said was f of f inverse of x equals x. i.e., I take a function, okay, I apply its inverse, and I get back to whatever I started with. So for example, if I added 4 to something, the inverse of it would be minus 4. If I multiplied something by 7, the inverse of it would be divide. So just like when you're rearranging equations and we teach you do the opposite, that's what a function actually is. It's the opposite. Equally, you can say f inverse composed of f equals x. I do my function, I apply the inverse, and it takes it back to the beginning. It's basically what you have to do to reverse the function. So if I take g of x, a equals 2x plus 1. Now, if I was going to rearrange this, if I times 2 to a number and added 1, you would guess to go back, I'd take off 1 and then divide by 2. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you the mathematical way to do that. To find g inverse, get rid of g, let's just call it y equals 2x plus 1. It's the same thing, yeah? G of x and y are the same thing. First step, switch x and y over. So x equals 2y plus 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange for y. I'm going to make y the subject. So if I take 1 off, I get 2y. And if I divide by 2, I get y. And actually, if you think about what I just said, yeah, I had to take 1 away and then divide by 2. So that's how you find the inverse. The inverse of 2x plus 1 is take off 1 and divide by 2. Let's take a number. Let's take 4. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. If I put that in here, I get 9, take away 1 is 8, divide by 2 is 4. I've come back again to the 4. And actually it's exactly the same, whatever number, whatever letter, or anything you choose, if you do g and then g inverse, you must come back to get x. Second one's a little bit harder. I have to do g composed of f inverse. So first off, let's find g composed of f. If you haven't gone back and watched the composite functions video, do that now. This is g of f of x. Okay, so you take f and you put it into g. If you do that, you get 2x squared plus 1. Now, I want to find the inverse of this. So I let y equal 2x squared plus 1. I swap x and y over, so I get x equals 2y squared plus 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange for y. If I do that, I get x minus 1 divided by 2 equals y squared. And therefore my inverse function, which is g of f inverse, so let's write that here, g of f inverse of x, is just this, square rooted. Square root x minus 1 over 2. And that's how you go about finding an inverse function given a standard function.